Sure. So I had written an article in early 2018 when we had the volatility based when the XIV blew up and we had the market correction, and I wrote sort of it was the first article I'd ever written during a market decline, and I wrote sort of the standard stay the course article. I talked about I put like a huge chart in there to show the long term returns of the market. I talked about how volatility is normal, which at that point was actually a point that had to be made because 2017 had been the least volatile year ever.
Right.
I wrote essentially the standard article anybody would write to say, what you got to do during these declines is you just stay the course and everything will be fine. And that's it. And I think that was nothing in there was wrong, but I think that missed some things because I think there's a lot of things that go on during these bear markets, the pain that goes on that maybe, that type of dispassionate argument where you're just saying, you've got to stay the course, no matter what. And it's so easy and it's so obvious. And that's, you look at this long-term chart and even 2008 is just a blip on the radar. I think that misses a lot in terms of what actually goes on during these things. So my article this week was to try to bring those things in and not just to say, stay the course, but to also talk about the types of things that people have to do and go through during periods like this.
And so what were some of those examples that you gave, as ways that investors can try to help, prepare mentally and emotionally for dealing with periods like this?
Yeah, so the first thing I talked about was just that stay the course doesn't mean that there's not going to be a lot of pain. And I didn't account for that at all in my first article. And, we're seeing that right now. I mean, we've had days where the market goes down 8% and then it goes down 10% the next day. And it just messes with you as a person. And, even us, we've been through this kind of thing. I mean, we haven't been through something like this because this is unprecedented, but we've been through these types of things before. And you want to make bad decisions. You start worrying about, are my kids going to go to college? You start worrying about, am I going to be able to retire? You worry about all these things and you make bad decisions. And so the point I wanted to make is it's very easy for me to sit here and say, you should stay the course. It's much, much, much harder to actually do it. And until you've been through that pain and until you account for that pain, if you're someone like us who gives advice to clients, you need to account for that pain in your advice. You can't just say, oh, this is the easiest decision ever. You just stay the course. Look at this long-term chart. Obviously, you should stay the course. That doesn't take into account the amount of pain that people go through in a situation like this. And managing that pain to avoid bad decisions is a really important part of the process of going through bear markets.